Hey, I'm Bob. That's Tom. Welcome to a special edition of What We Do. We are going to talk to you for a minute about something we're doing. We've been talking all week in the today's Antidote about Renegade Restart. And we're about to talk about a restart we've come across, a restart that we've been talking about and building towards for the last couple of years. So hang on, stay tuned. This is going to be really exciting stuff. And I'm going to get to ask Tom some questions, which is my favorite thing. So, Tom, what have you learned in the last 2 years? We have this Renegade Success Network that we've built. We have this Ring of Renegades group that we've built, and we have this today's Antidote. What are some of the things you learned over the last 2 years, 2.5 years of doing it?
Yeah, I think that one of the key things is that the value of community. When we came up with this initial idea and we started it, it was all about how to create space. So we created it with today's Antidote, a space for people to talk about the challenges and the successes and all the things that they had that were going on, and it allowed them a space, which led to a Facebook group that again was another opportunity for the community not only to just listen to a message, share some thoughts, but then to really connect and engage in a certain way. And I think that connection and engagement was a key piece of what was happening. And I think along the way, I also learned that while the Facebook group connection had value, that there were others who were also looking for more, who appreciated the connection engagement that was made by the sharing of thoughts and ideas, responding to polls, maybe doing a couple of workshops here or there, and that they were looking for something else. That they bought into the idea of being a renegade and the value of, finding your own unique pathway to success. And so they wanted to not only be in a space with people like that, but to really connect and engage with them. And the value of that connecting, engaging, of knowing someone differently than just a business card was going to add a lot of value to the network and the growth of that network.
I like all that, except for one phrase. You said bought into the idea of being a renegade. I want to disagree with that. You either are a renegade or you're not a renegade, and hint, you're all renegades.
Well, let's say they chose to embrace the renegade in them.
What's that?
Let's say they chose to embrace the renegade in them.
There you go. I like that better. So, some of the things I've learned, Tom, is that there are some great people in that Ring of Renegades Facebook group. I'm amazed to each time I get the opportunity to get to know someone a little better. They are a breath of sunshine. They enhance my life in really profound ways. They give me information I wouldn't have otherwise, knowledge, perspectives. They share things with me that I wouldn't have exposure to. Someone gave me a really great restaurant suggestion when I was in DC. They just happened to have been in DC and they're like, you've got to go to this restaurant. Another person gave me a suggestion for how to do something that profoundly affected how I did something. It literally changed the game. And it was just like, we were just chatting about, what are you working on? Oh, I'm doing this. And they're like, oh, I did something very similar. Have you thought about this? Because I didn't. And I think that's one of the things that you and I have stumbled upon in our own relationship over the years, that it's become far more than business for us. Yes, there's a business component. Like this morning, you and I were whiteboarding my business plan for the next year, and you were asking me questions and helping me get at some issues. And that's not the typical networking. That's not the typical, here's my business card. I'm Tom. If you need what I'm selling, call me. But if you don't, leave me alone. And I think that's something that we're really trying to bring to the table. And really, we've recognized its value in our own lives, and we want to bring it to other people. Do you want to explain some more about that?
Well, sure. I think we kind of took from what we were learning along the way, which came like, okay, we created a community. What else does the community need? Okay, here's the next step. We also figured out ways to get the message out more broadly, so that it wasn't just through Facebook, that it was through other channels. And how do we do that as effectively as we could? We also realized that within that group, there were people who were looking for more. And so that's when we really created the Renegade Success Network, for those people who were looking to take that community and that engagement and connection to a different level. And I think as we've now been going through the Renegade Success Network for a few years, we've seen some opportunities that we could continue to enhance it. And really, that's the restart that I think we are sharing today, is the opportunity to enhance and change a little bit what's going on within the Renegade Success Network, and to use it as a different way to build your network, actually the Renegade way, that we think is going to create real value and help people figure out how to take their next step and how to connect and engage with people on a different level, so that they will truly be ambassadors for each other, not only in a business sense, but also in a personal sense as well. Because I think when we know and understand people differently, it's a lot easier, because we build up that know, like, and trust that we talk about so frequently, about the value that that has. And I'm not sure you get that in other networks. They're more about, like, how do I create a sale? How do I, how many business cards can I collect? How many leads is someone going to give me? Rather than, here's a person that I know really well, and I know that I'm going to pass their name along because I know them that well. And I think what we've discovered is that within the current members of the Renegade Success Network, we know them on a different level. And so we're able to share not just that, yes, this is a service that they provide or a product that they provide, really to be like, this is why this person could be really valuable for you and why I would recommend them over many others, because I know them in a different way.
Can I give you an example of that, Tom?
I missed that question. Could you repeat that?
Can I give you an example of that?
Certainly.
So Gene Bourne of Born to Travel is in our Renegade Success Network, and Gene schedules cruises for people to go on cruise ships. And I am opposed to the idea of being on a cruise ship. And I joked about it a couple of times. And at one of the meetings that we had, Gene asked about it. She's like, well, what's the issue? And I said, I want to be able to see the shoreline. And she said, okay, that makes sense, fine. And she kind of just threw it. I forgot. A couple weeks later, we were meeting in the group, and Gene said, hey, have you ever thought about a river cruise? And I said, no, I don't even know what that is. She said, well, there are these cruises up and down the Mississippi and various Rhine River and all these rivers, and you'll see the shore because you're literally going up the river, down the river. I thought it might be a really good fit for you. And I've told probably, 8, 10, 12 people that story as a way to describe Gene to them, that she's not just, take a Disney cruise and be on your way and, let me collect my commission, but she's genuinely interested in what fits your life and how you go about it. I wouldn't have had that connection with Gene were it not for our Renegade Success Network and the ability to see Gene and talk to Gene and get to know Gene, and for Gene to be able to ask me questions about who and what I am, not just, well, I sell cruises, and if you don't like a cruise, fine, I'm moving to the next person. And I think that's what's available there when you start building these relationships more deeply than just, here's my business card. If you need X, call me. Now, there are certainly things, if you need a plumber, you want a business card, you want to call. You're not going to build that relationship, but you also might build a relationship with a plumber where you go, I like this plumbing service better because they accommodate my schedule. Or when they did something that didn't work, they corrected it at no charge to me. And I think as we think of the Renegade way to build your business community and that network, we think that it's more about those relationships. We think it's more about developing those relationships. And in these meetings that we're about to start on, what's the first one, Tom? I forgot the date.
Well, they're going to be on the third Tuesday of September.
Is the first meeting.
Correct.
At 11 a.m. Eastern time, right?
That is correct, yes. But via Zoom. They'll all be virtual.
Okay. And they're half-hour-long meetings, right?
Half hour to 45 minutes, yes.
Okay, but not like 2 hours.
Not 2 hours, no.
And these are not going to be meetings where everyone gets on the screen and they have their little bubble and they get to talk for like 12 seconds and say who and what they are, right?
Correct. I mean, I think there might be a little piece of that. I mean, there's an opportunity. I think one of the things that we will do is we'll share our celebrations, share the things that we have going on. Because again, I think we have, shown to people that there is a value in the celebrations that we have. It's another great way to get to connect and engage people. And then we'll connect them in with the conversations that we're having on a regular basis around business, professional, personal topics that influence us all. And that, we share those every morning with today's Antidote. So this will be an additional opportunity to get a deeper dive into those conversations with people that will not only, one, provide you with some value, likely. You'll learn a different perspective on someone else's knowledge and experience. You will also have the opportunity to get to know them differently. And I think that connection and engagement will really provide an opportunity for you to build a group of people that is a network, not just a group of business cards that be like, oh, you need a plumber, great, here's someone. I don't know anything about them except that I got their business card at this networking group and somebody said you should call them, or a referral. That it's really more about like, this is why this person I think is going to be really beneficial to who and what you are. And I think, what will come from that, what I know will come from that, is that those referrals won't just be referrals, but they'll be like, let me call my friend because I know that you could be a great fit for them once you get a chance to connect and engage as well. And so I think that those meetings is a piece of the way to connect and engage. Additionally, we launched our Renegade Success Network app. And so the opportunity is to create a community there where those conversations can continue outside of any scheduled meetings, but where people on their phone have access to that network anytime that they need it. And I think that other opportunity for connecting, engaging is taking what we have started with today's Antidote, the Ring of Renegades, and the early iterations of the Renegade Success Network, and enhancing, meeting the needs that we think that people have.
So, question for you, Tom. Do I need to have my elevator pitch ready for this meeting the third Tuesday of September at 11 a.m.?
No, you don't. There's value. There is some value to an elevator pitch. And if all I remember somebody by is their elevator pitch, what do I really know about them? I know that they can come up with an interesting jingle or an interesting tagline for their work. Taglines are great, yet that's not really the work. And he says say anything about the work that they do, the value that they provide.
Are you dissing the tagline at the bottom of this video, Tom? Is that what you're doing?
No, taglines have a benefit. Yet there's not a lot behind a tagline until you know more about the person and the services and the work they do. So the tagline may pique your interest, but it's a nice tagline. And if what's behind that isn't someone that you know, like, and trust, the tagline doesn't have the same value.
I think one of the other things I've stumbled on in the last 3-4 years, Tom, is the idea that my network is far more valuable than I realized. It's really powerful when I can tell a client or a customer or a friend, hey, yeah, I have someone who can do that. So I don't know why, but I get probably, 4 or 5 times a year, someone asks me for an intellectual property lawyer. That's happened for 7 or 8 years. I finally found one after about 2 or 3 years, and now I have one that I go to and refer people to. And you wouldn't believe how many times people call me the next day like, that guy was really amazing. He's so affordable and he's so great. How did you find him? And that improves my value to my customers, to my friends, and those people. And we don't often think about that as, I love being the resource for people. Nothing makes me happier than when someone calls and goes, Bob, I couldn't think of anyone that would be able to solve this, but you always seem to have the answer. So I'm calling you first to see if you know a person that does this, or if you have experience with that. And that's that deepened relationship. And I know you get calls like that from people all the time as well. And it really does foster that know, like, and trust factor. And it leads to additional business, because when you help someone out, they feel like they owe you. Sure. And then they go out of their way to return the favor, whether it's a connection, whether it's a client, whether it's, hey, we weren't going to do this year, but we moved it up because I wanted to make sure we helped you because you helped us so much. And
I even think it goes greater than just feeling like you owe. You feel like this is somebody that I really want to support if I can. And they shared their value with me. Maybe it's my opportunity to share my value with others. and maybe back in it, and it may get back. I think that many times in other groups, it's kind of like the give and take. Like, I give you a recommendation, I feel like the other person feels like, oh my God, I got to come up with one for them. When you build a community and everybody is benefiting from the collective and the value that each is sharing, it's a lot easier to just see the value that is put out there and how we can help amplify that for ourselves and for others.
I like that. I like all that. Thank you for clarifying that. I do agree. It's very powerful when someone feels like you've helped them and they want to help you. That is it's a great feeling both ways. So
Sure, and it's a
Tom,
great example.
I'm sorry.
It's a great example. If we were watching others who are willing to share their value with us so that we can receive that value, it's an example for us to then go out and share our value with others so that others may receive, and then likely see that example, and then they will continue to share theirs as well.
I like it. So Tom, I put in the chat where people can go, but I know you want to highlight it. Where can people go? There's a really great webpage that you worked really hard on. What's that address?
So it's renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Very simply, it's right there. It explains all the details and information about it. For those who are already a member, you'll see that it's an enhancement over what you have, and you will continue to have. And within that, excuse me. Sorry about that. And within that, there will be other opportunities for members to choose. They may want to take advantage of what we were talking about and just being a part of the network. And then there are other opportunities. If they want to get into things like laser solutions, we'll have some roundtables for some specific industries that they may want to participate in. And so it's just an opportunity for us to say we have seen and heard what we think new value might be available and might be beneficial. So we are restarting by sharing some of that value with you today.
It's like it's come full circle. We've been talking about restarting all week on today's Antidote, and we have our own restart. Who would have thought such a thing could happen?
Well, I think that's one of the benefits of this, and one of the reasons that I think it ties together. The conversations, the topics that we discuss on today's Antidote are things that people are dealing with all the time. And then we've continued that conversation inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. We are also launching the Renegade Success Network for leaders in LinkedIn, if you want to join that group, if you're a LinkedIn person rather than a Facebook person. And I think this is just an opportunity to continue those conversations even deeper inside the Renegade Success Network. Because I think what we know is that they are all conversations that people are talking about. We did a poll last week about change and what are the challenges with change in course. And I think there was a lot of insight that was provided, yet it was limited to a poll in the Ring of Renegades. We have the opportunity to, within the Renegade Success Network, enhance those conversations and get deeper into why do some of those people have some of those challenges that they are facing.
Wow. We covered a lot of ground here, Tom. Anything else you want to add before we close it up?
No, I would just say that, we really appreciate the value that you have shared with us over the last 2.5 years through today's Antidote and the Ring of Renegades Facebook.
You mean you, the people, not me.
Well, you as well, because you're one of the members, one of the people inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. So the collective you, we appreciate and are honored, I would say. I don't want to speak for you, Bob.
No, that's a great word.
And I think that we are honored that you were willing to come be a part of our community and embrace that renegade in you. And so we are hopeful, believe that this might be an additional value for those who feel like that's your next step. And maybe the restart you off this last part of 2022 and have that reach the goals and desires that you have and jumpstart 2023.
Hey, everyone, have a great afternoon. Really appreciate your time. Talk to you soon. Go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com for all the details.